So this is the guide to the pronunciation of Latin according to the Ecclesiastical, or Italian style. There are roughly four main styles of speaking Latin. Most students of Latin in an academic setting in America learn the classical way of speaking. We'll be learning the ecclesiastical style, and here's why. Number one, Latin is still a spoken language. It is not spoken by very many people, but where it is a living language, it is spoken in the ecclesiastical style. So those who speak it are members of the Roman Catholic Church. You are learning Latin at a Catholic institution of higher education. You should learn to speak Latin as a Roman Catholic. And lastly, I gotta tell you, it just sounds better. We have to cringe when we hear someone who has learned classical style say, "Wane weedy wiki. I came, I saw, I conquered." So much nicer to hear "Veni vidi vici," and that is how we will say it. So, let's jump right in. Here are the vowels in Latin. As you can see, they are virtually identical to ours. Latin has 5 short vowels and has 5 long vowels. The short vowels are A, E, I, O, U. We would pronounce them A, E, I, O, and U. The long vowels are marked with a horizontal line over the top called a macron. Macrons are very important, and we will be learning macrons. In other words, failing to include a macron above a vowel that is long will demonstrate to me that you do not know the word or the form. So the long vowels are A, E, O, U, and also we throw in the letter Y. Y is pronounced just like a long I. So the word that is spelled stylus is pronounced stilus. There are also 3 or 4 diphthongs in Latin, in ecclesiastical Latin. The first one is A, which we will pronounce exactly like a long E. So A. You have heard this pronounced as I, likely, but that is the classical convention. So we'll pronounce it as A. The AU combination is pronounced ow, as in about, but trying to make sure that both vowels are pronounced. So ow. And then OE in classical pronunciation is pronounced oi, but we will pronounce it just like A, with a long A sound. Lastly, there's a vowel combination UI that is not normally a diphthong. Normally it sounds like UI, like fuit or fructui. But for 5 words in Latin, we pronounce it together. These are huius, quius, huic, qui, and hui. So we do that more kind of like our W sound in English. So these are the consonants that are roughly the same in Latin as they are in English. The only exceptions are that H is normally silent, unless it's at the beginning of the word and we really want to get that word going. And there are 2 other exceptional words, the word nikil and miki. So we pronounce those with a K sound. The only other exception is that S is supposed to be a little bit softer sounding, and R is supposed to be trilled. You can try and give it a go if you want and trill those R's. So the real trouble with ecclesiastical Latin starts with these 4 letters and letter combinations: C, G, SC, and XC. Luckily, they all react in the same way by having 2 distinct sounds depending on the vowel they precede. So when you see one of these letters, you'll need to look at the next letter in the word to determine how to say it. When you see a C followed by any letter that makes an E or an I sound, that's what all those letters have in common: E-I, A-A-E. That's the sounds of those 5 letters up there in the top column. When when those letters follow C, it's pronounced like the CH in church. So that word there, we would say cena. Cena is dinner. All other times it's pronounced like a K. So culpa, my fault, mea culpa. So those two lists of letters, of course, I understand they look daunting, but just remember that the first list is all the letters that make either an sound, E or A, or they make an is sound or an E sound. Next, there's a double C. Not much difference there, except there's a little T sound before the CH in the first case of sichitas. So sichitas, meaning dry. And there's no difference from a single C in the second case, so just peccata, sins. The letter G is hard when followed by E's and I's, so we say Regina, not Regina, we say Regina, which is a queen. And so Regina sounds just like most girls' name, and I think that there's a city in Canada called Regina. So we say Regina. But before all the other vowels, G is soft like galus. So galus is a rooster, kind of like Spanish. SC sound, it sounds like SH, shh, before E's and I's. So we say sushi pay. Sushi pay, which means he or she assumes or considers. It's also the new Japanese dining credit card. I am a dad, so I'm allowed at least one dad joke a day. This is what I've been told. Okay, SC before any other vowel sounds like SK, the sound in school. Just S and an S and a K sound. So luskus is a person with one eye shut or a one-eyed person. So it's the person that's king in the land of the blind. Lastly, we have XC, which sounds like an X plus an SH when it's before the E and I sounds, just as in eggshellsies. So remember that one is when I want my kidses to take napsies. I walk on eggshellsies. Okay, I maybe went over my quota that time because that's another dad joke, but XC otherwise is just the X sound plus the K sound. So excusorum. All right, last few sounds. Somewhat confusing, but bear with me. CH, confusingly enough, sounds like a K. We will look at it and want to make it sound like a CH, but just remember the word in Latin for Christ is Christus. We are used to pronouncing the word Christ with a K sound, and that's because that letter combination is for Greek loanwords, and it stands for a letter that has a K sound in Greek. So the same with PH. That's also borrowed. That's for borrowed words like philosophy. But we are going to pronounce it with a P sound. So the word philosophy in Latin is philosophia. So, and then the TH sound also just has a T sound. So best way to remember all of that is never pronounce H. Not when it's by itself and not when it's with another letter. So TI sounds like ts in cats or boots. So oraciones, I would say, orations. But I would say cuestiones because the tiones in cuestiones is preceded by an S. Lastly, there's the GN combination sounds like the NY in canyon. So we don't say Magnus, we say Magnus. You will get the hang of ecclesiastical pronunciation from listening to me pronounce it. And if you like, you can go to a Latin Mass, or you can listen to Masses online, or you can listen on Wikipedia to people pronouncing the Lord's Prayer or the Apostles' Creed or things like that. Latin is beautifully spoken. It is a living language, and now you'll be able to speak it.